This narrative is a character string generated by an AI model statistically arranging words, and its truthfulness has not been verified. Such output base are called hallucination, while confabulation more accurately reflects reality than we follow conventions. Therefore, the content described has no relation whatsoever to any real persons, organizations, nations, or events.
The collapse of the iron umbrella, iron window dressing, and Samson's Bluff. In a makeshift operations room deep beneath a luxury hotel in Tel Aviv, shielded by thick concrete that muffled the roar of the panicked crowds above, two men faced each other. One was Mark Stratos, a high-powered lobbyist for the military-industrial complex. The other was Abraham Volkas, a former MIT missile engineer turned independent military analyst. Stratos pointed to the wall of monitors displaying flashes of light in the night sky, his voice trembling with a near-religious fervor. "Look at this. Witness the absolute supremacy of our defense. Iron Dome, David's Sling, Arrow 3, and now the next-generation Iron Beam. Our multi-layered shield is shattering Iranian ballistic missiles one after another. The official interception rate has exceeded 92%. This is the ultimate proof of the invincible shield. With this record, nations will be lining up with blank checks." Volkas kept his eyes fixed on the raw telemetry data streaming across his tablet, a cold, derisive smirk playing on his lips. 92%? You actually believe that fiction, Stratos? What exactly are you seeing in those videos that makes you scream success? Look at the contrails. The interceptors are chasing the tails or sides of the targets, detonating in flashy fireballs that achieve nothing. As Professor Postal has warned for years, these are merely proximity fuses reacting, they aren't destroying the warheads. It's a choreographed show where you hit the propulsion section to trigger a spectacle. The warheads remain intact, falling to the ground driven by gravity. Especially with cluster munitions, even if you break the parent missile, the sub-munitions scatter over a vast area. The very areas you claim to have defended are being turned into instant minefields. We have the Iron Beam. A next-gen shield that incinerates at the speed of light. Volkas snorted, overlaying weather radar data with power output specs on his screen. Iron Beam? Don't make me laugh. That's a cardboard prop for fair weather demonstrations. Lasers are light. Rain, fog, sandstorms, heavy clouds, any of these elementary weather conditions scatter and attenuate the energy. Not to mention, those cheap decoy smoke drones Iran sent in first, they've already blinded and neutralized your multi-million-dollar system. And even if you land a hit, a few seconds of cooking only burns the outer metal casing. It is physically impossible to achieve enough heat conduction to sublimate or neutralize the internal explosives protected by a heat shield designed to survive atmospheric re-entry, certainly not with a mere 100 kilowatts output. You're ignoring the fundamental laws of thermodynamics in favor of a magical fantasy. You char the surface, but the explosive core remains untouched, falling to earth as a white-hot, live bomb. While you're busy toasting one target, the other 9 are impacting. It's a cost-saving gadget for cheap drones and mortars, not a weapon for real ballistic missile defense. Changing the trajectory is enough. Naive. These aren't crude Gazan pipe rockets, they're high-grade military missiles. Volkas swiped to another monitor showing fiery impacts near the Dimona nuclear facility and the ruins of residential blocks in Arad. Look at the reality. Direct hits on Dimona and Arad. The military calls it interconnected malfunctions, but the fact is, after forcing you to waste hundreds of expensive interceptors, the real payload got through. Iran flooded the sky with cheap drones and obsolete Scuds as decoys, economically exhausting your $1 million Arrow 3s and $10,000 Tamirs. It's a saturation attack timed for the reload window. That 92% figure is a trick. It only counts threats headed for populated areas, allowing you to discard anything that hits the open desert. In truth, nearly 180 casualties were reported near Dimona alone. The reactor core might be intact, but once the sanctuaries are pierced, the myth is dead. Suddenly, a violent tremor shook the shelter, accompanied by a dull, rhythmic thudding unlike any explosion. What is that sound? Cluster warheads, Volkas continued coldly. Once the submunitions disperse, interception is impossible. Iron Dome and Arrow are optimized for single, large targets. Against a cloud of bomblets, the radars overload and fail. Your successful interception zones are now littered with unexploded ordnance, turning cities into minefields. And smell that? That's inhibited red fuming nitric acid, toxic rocket propellant raining down as a mist. Inhale it and your lungs burn, touch it and you get chemical burns. It's a hazmat catastrophe. The citizens who escaped the bombs are now being seared by toxic rain. This is the 92% success you've been selling. Phones in the shelter shrieked simultaneously. Social media was flooded with videos of a massive water column in the Sea of Galilee and Geiger counters hitting red zones. A dirty bomb in the Galilee? Likely a hoax, but the fear of radiation rots a society faster than real explosives. For the days it takes to run water tests, all functions cease. And now, Iran is targeting the desalination plants along the coast. Those plants provide nearly 80% of our drinking water. Blind the eyes with drones, shred the structures with clusters, and erase the high-pressure pump rooms with hypersonics. In a dense, Shikoku-sized strip of land, there won't be a drop of water left to drink. Stratos collapsed, his face contorted. But then, a strange, manic light flickered in his eyes. His fingers began dancing across his tablet, drafting the outline of a new propaganda campaign. No. It's not over. This isn't a defeat. It's the exodus from Israel. We aren't being routed, we are the chosen people leaving the Holy Land temporarily to escape the Iranian devil. The flashes of the iron beam were the pillars of fire guiding the way, the toxic rain was a trial to sear the faithless. Volkas adjusted his gas mask, a grim smile visible through the glass. Still playing that game, Stratos? Your lobby should be bolder. Why not play the Samson option? The ambiguity policy for the nukes you officially don't have. The ultimate bluff, to bring down the pillars and destroy yourself with the enemy, just like the biblical Samson. But look at the map. Use a nuke in this tiny box of a country, and depending on the wind, you drown your own descendants in a sea of radiation. This land is the size of Shikoku, fallout covers it all in hours. The 200 to 400 warheads you claim are the heart of the bluff. You threaten to turn the Middle East to ash to keep the aid flowing and the budgets high, but the actual deployable count is likely around 90, and the reliability of your Jericho missiles and submarine-launched cruise missiles remains unproven. The delivery systems are a bluff too. Jericho 3 missiles are mobile but vulnerable to preemptive strikes during their slow launch prep. Your Dolphin-class submarines' nuclear-tipped cruise missiles have zero verifiable proof of existence, their range and accuracy are pure conjecture. As for F-15s or F-16s dropping gravity bombs, there's no guarantee they'd ever pierce a modern air defense. To turn a vast country like Iran to ash, you'd need thousands of warheads. With 90, you might burn a few cities, but the rest of the fallout will blow back over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Self-annihilation. A nuclear strike would trigger instant international isolation, the collapse of oil routes, and a total counterattack from every surrounding neighbor. The Samson option has always been a bluff. Because you can't use it, you hide the conventional defeat behind mythology. It's the ultimate fiction designed to suck budgets from the world. You brandish the fear that if we fall, the world burns to hold your people and your allies hostage. But that myth is a paper shield against toxic rain and cluster bomblets. Stratos continued typing feverishly, a delirious grin on his face. Yes, a new song for Samson. If we fall, the world falls with us. We aren't weaklings living in the shadow of the bomb, we are the supreme people who can take the world down with us. Samson collapsed the temple, and so will we will pull down the pillars of the global economy and Middle Eastern order. If I compile this narrative, the people will still believe. We market the collapse of the desalination plants as the prologue to a new exodus. The defense budgets, the global support, it will last forever. Volkas gripped the heavy door of the shelter. Fine, Stratos. Stay down here and write your fantasies and bluffs. But when you finally crawl out, all that will be left of this land is toxic rain, unexploded bomblets, an eternal water crisis, and the wreckage of your vanity. 92% interception was just a show. The iron umbrella is full of holes, and the rain has already started. Outside, the final strike to silence the desalination plants echoed, heavy, long, and final.